Very good morning. In the previous video, we discussed some of the basic concepts regarding the natural circulation, that is the water circulation. We had not coined the word natural circulation so far, water circulation, and we also posed a question why water circulation should take place. And water, so the entry of the water, the direction of flow of water was downwards from the DTH downtake headers, and upward was the direction of flow of the steam. So there is a definite logic, and there is a definite situation that water must flow through these tubes. Now one question that we posed was why water circulation exists, why it should be there, why it should not be there. For that, in order to explain this question, we described grate. What was grate? Grate is this area, and the combustion takes place over this area, and flue gases are produced. Now, since this we had earlier described in the previous video. Now, since flue gases are produced, and flue gases, and the condition of the situation of these tubes are inclined like this. Now we can see that this portion of the tubes, which is very near to the flow of the gases, which is very near to the combustion chamber. This is the combustion chamber, entire this one is the combustion chamber. Now this portion of the tubes is the hottest portion, and it should obviously be the hottest portion because this portion of the tube is very near, it is the closest to the combustion chamber and the flue gases. Now the flow path of the flue gases is a zigzag path. It takes this path. I am showing it by green color. And why it takes this path? Because it has no other option. These are the baffles actually. These black ones are the baffles. This one is a baffle. BAFFLE, baffles. The path of the flue gases is deflected by the baffles. This black one is also a baffle, and the baffle is a, we can say it is a metallic portion. It is a metallic sheet having having a number of holes, and the water tubes pass through these holes. So we can see when the tubes are passing through these holes, these baffles act as a mechanical support for the tubes, and they also act as a deflector of the flue gases. The flue gases are being deflected by these baffles, and these are again deflected by the second baffle, and now finally they are passed to the chimneys. And before passing, they also pass through the one more thing, that is the electrostatic precipitators, ESPs. And these ESPs help in collection of a lot of fly ash. Fly ash is collected at the bottom, and if it is not collected and if it is directly passed to the atmosphere, it will result in a lot of problems, a lot of respiratory problems. Now our main focus is on the flue gases and the tubes and water circulation. So since it is now understood that this portion of the tubes is the hottest portion, and this is less hotter as compared to the previous one, and this is the least heated up portion. Now since water is already saturated, the temperature of the water start increasing, and now I am showing the things by means of the graph. This is the TS graph. Now since water was already at this position, we are assuming and that the feed water was provided through the feed valve at the saturated condition. This is the saturated condition, this is the point 1. Now the water, now since the position of the feed water here in the DTH was a saturated one, now as the small amount of heat is added, in the portion number 1. This is portion number 1, portion number 2, portion number 3. In the portion 1, when the small amount of heat is added, the water enters into the wet region and continues to be in the wet region in the second region also. Now we can say, as the water moves towards the right hand side, the quality or the dryness fraction goes on increasing, and greater amount of steam is produced. Now as it reaches the point 1, as it reaches there at the point 3, now we can say water is in the saturated vapor phase. This is the point number 3. Of course, now it is in the saturated vapor. Now here at this condition, some amount of steam also has there is steam also. Now this is the hottest portion and there is steam. So in that case, the steam being lighter, it rises up, and it enters the drum from the UTH, that is the upper take header, and it comes at the top of water because it is lighter in nature. It has got less density as compared to water. Now the steam also is not very superheated. It is also not superheated under this condition. Now it is required to be superheated. For that purpose, we are going to make the steam enter into the combustion, into the flue gases area by means of this pipe, that is the superheated pipe, and then we are going to take the steam again, take the steam out again through the steam stop valve. Now the condition of the steam when it passes through this superheated tube, that is the ST, would be depicted appropriately by this curve, this one. So now the steam has entered into the steam and water. We are saying that it is steam or water, but our main focus, we will be using only one term, steam and water. They are same from the thermodynamical point of view. One thing we have to note. So the water was there at the point 1. I am going to have a quick look over what we have learned so far. At the point in the section 1 of the tubes, water was at this position when it entered the downtake headers, and in the section 1 we can say water reached this area. In the section 2, water further continued in this area, and in the section 3, water finally reached the saturated condition, and in the saturated condition, water, whatever steam was there, that got collected over the top of the drum, but the condition of the steam, or the, we can say, condition of water, even at this point, was not superheated. It was required to be superheated. For that purpose, we made the water flow, we made the steam so far formed flow through the steam tubes. So thermodynamically, we can say water and steam have got a very little difference, and we can use the term interchangeably also, provided we have to use that water at this this particular line is at a particular pressure. This line has got a particular pressure. This is one constant pressure line on the TS diagram. Now what we are going to do, instead of using water and steam, both the terms separately, we are going to use water at and mention particular temperature along with that, because pressure is already constant. And this is which pressure? This is the pressure of the boiler. So now water is at this temperature. Now the water is made to superheat. Water is superheated, its temperature is risen, its temperature rises, and now in this condition we can say we can say that water has become superheated, and it is in a condition that we can take it for further processing. Now for simplicity we can say, now here the steam is in the superheated region, and we can use it for further processing in the boiler. To move the boiler, we can use it now. this is all about the